says
well.
recording in progress.
Yes, it does. And everybody, this is the great Larry Alberts from Auburn, California, my favorite person in Auburn and my high school art teacher. He's looking quite young and dapper. You look like, what's
I am
going?
young and dapper.
Yeah, you look younger every time I see you. What's going on? You made a deal with the devil.
I don't wear glasses anymore.
What happened? What's going on with that? You got the laser?
I woke up to a vision.
Okay.
Cataract surgery.
Oh, wow. And so they, all right. Well, that's why you do look young. You look like some kind of beautiful Kenny Rogers or something. What is going? I don't know what's going on here.
Kenny Rogers, picture of me in the classroom with my name.
Kenny Rogers. Well, okay. So before we get started too much, the internet's a little bit jacked up, but we're gonna do our best.
Okay, let's work. Well, now it's saying it's unstable on my end.
Yeah.
But it left. It's good.
See, things mostly traditionally in our relationship have been unstable on my end. I've been unstable, but now the tide has turned. You see, I'm well now. I'm well. And now you're in an attic somewhere.
This is the studio. You've been in here.
I love it. I love that you put up my cool artwork in there to show support for me.
There's and that's only a partial. I have so much Skinner stuff. In about 5 years, I'm going to cash it all in.
Oh, that's a bad idea. I think the value is going down by the day.
Oh man. Well, you know what? And I'm going to say this right to your face. I think the most I paid for one of your pieces was $200.
Oh man.
And I know you're not even going to remember this piece, but it's actually my favorite piece. Oh. It's remember when you used to paint on windows and doors? Mm-hmm. This is a large window piece, and it's a large purple rat with his mouth open, and he's eating a blue fish, and there's like a dog boy on the right that's orange and purple. And it's nothing like you do now.
Right.
Nothing. But right. I love that piece. When you showed it at the high school, when you came after you'd graduated, you had a show there, and this piece was there. Mm-hmm. And I said, I got to have that. I love that piece.
Oh man. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much. Yeah. I guess. Again,
I think I only paid $200 for it. And everything else is less than 100.
Well, back then I was doing the artwork mostly while I was at work. So I was kind of like, well, I'm already getting paid for being here. So
yeah, that'd be double dipping. Yeah.
You double dipping. So when I was in high school, there was, I was a very unhappy, little upset little guy. I was very bratty and antagonistic.
No, you?
Yes, I was. And I was very, I was struggling to understand what was going on. What is my life? Like, why am I here? Because the more I got to understand the world around me, the more I thought I hated it. I had contempt for it, Larry. And the thing that I think is interesting is that when I was in your class, I found in you and that classroom like a space to just kind of be crazy and weird and stuff, because even though I didn't know it at the time, I feel like you have the same kind of like a perspective of looking out in the world and being like, well, it's really, really stupid and ridiculous, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. And I think in a way, the coolest thing about you was that you created that kind of space for people. And I could tell it was like, when I think back on the class that I had in there, it was all these weird kids from different kinds of, different backgrounds. And but we were all sort of dissatisfied in some way and kind of just getting through it or whatever. And I was thinking about this quote that Mr. Ram told me, and it reminded me of something that you said, which is because I was always riling shit up and creating problems. And you would say to me, Skinner, let a sleeping dog lie, Skinner. Let a sleeping dog lie. And I was like, I was like, no, I want absolute chaos. I want to wake up all the dogs. I want all the problems. But Mr. Ram said to me, he goes, Skinner, you know what your problem is? You don't know how to let fools be fools. Because I was just angry about it. I was like, well, why is everything so stupid? Everybody's so dumb. This is so limiting. Everything, there's no culture. There's no, you know, and I don't know. I think that that's a secret thing about you that maybe only a handful of people know, that you're existing in Auburn, which is a conservative kind of a place. But I feel like you're just like a very expansive, creative person who has the ability to see things for what they are instead of to see things for what you want them to be. That's not really a question. I just want you to chime in.
Very much. I take that as a real compliment.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it must have been weird to, you know, be an art teacher in Auburn and, you know, be exposed to so many kind of constipated sort of personalities and just to navigate it with grace.
Well, you have to remember that I also grew up in Auburn.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that was one of the benefits I had of teaching there, is because I knew all the kids' parents. I grew up with the kids' parents. I knew their grandparents. I knew a lot of the kids from being, that was a huge advantage, that I was one of them. That, and you know, I think that's why people accepted me, because they knew I was one of them. I was an Auburn native. Well, I wasn't a native. Nobody sees this, right?
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, nobody watches this, so I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
I was actually born in Los Angeles, and I didn't come to Auburn until seventh or eighth grade. But so that's, you know, I'm 73 now, so you know, that's more than 60 years I've been here.
So there was nothing in Auburn really at that time. There was Old Town
absolutely
Auburn.
not. And I just told my son this yesterday. Highway 49, which is now a 4-lane highway, that was 2 lanes. And when you got to Edgewood, there was a canal there, and there was a bridge that was so narrow. If you met another car there, you literally had to slow down. And then when you got out to Bell Road,
Bell Road.
The last gas station was there, and it had a dirt floor.
Oh my God. That's what I love about Auburn. Was growing up, I remember it was so small that every little thing that happened was big news, you know?
Oh yeah.
And I remember after a while just feeling like none of this is like, it felt constraining, like what seemed like big news or something. I was like, there's gotta be something different than this, you know? I wonder, like, if you moved from Los Angeles to Auburn, that must have been like a crazy culture shock for you.
Oh, it was absolutely. It was absolutely cool. I lived in a beach community, and when we moved up here, man, it was like, whoa, this is different. But yeah, it worked out in the long run.
And then you were like, all right, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to do art. And then you decided to choose to go to Placer, and what happened?
No, you know that, and you interview thousands of people, and I bet you the majority of them say this. I was always into art as a child, and I drew always, but I wasn't really interested in art when I was in high school. As a matter of fact, my senior year, I finally took an art class, and Mario Frani had just started. That was his first year there. And I enjoyed the class, and I enjoyed doing the work. Still, I didn't think I'd ever have a career in art, or I wasn't going to pursue art. It was a weird deal. It wasn't until I got in college that I took 4 years off after high school to go to college. And it wasn't until I started college that I said, oh, you know, I kind of like this art thing. But I still didn't want to teach art then. I didn't want to teach art till, you know how things happen in your life. I actually thought I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. So when I was at Sierra College, I was lucky enough to get a job in Rockland as a teacher's aide in a 5th grade class.
Yeah.
And that's when I was a sophomore in college. And I thought, man, this isn't what I want to do. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So I always had a relationship with Mario, and I went to see him and ask him if I could do like a little internship in his art class, because I had to do that for a class anyway. And so once I started doing that, I said, "Oh, this is what I need to do, is be a high school art teacher." But now
Wow.
here's the clicker. Are you ready for the clicker? You
Yeah.
understand that word, clicker?
Yeah, the clicker.
At that time, as you just said, the art teacher was Mario Ferranti. In 1972 or so, Kim Brown was hired to
Right.
teach art. So that was it, 2 art teachers. And that's all that they wanted. And so even though I wanted to do that, and even though I wanted to teach a class, I said, yeah, what are the chances I'll ever get a job here?
Right.
So I graduated from college, and in open
Oh, you froze
it
up.
was a weird deal.
Wait, you froze
I
up.
was
1 second. I'm sorry. Say that again. You graduated and when?
I graduated from college. I was working a variety of jobs, crazy jobs.
Okay.
A opening came at Placer High School. I substituted at Placer, and I taught night school at Placer, so I had a foot in the door. But there was no chance I was ever going to get a job teaching art because I knew the situation. Anyway, a temporary job comes up to teach art next to Mario's room.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I thought this was great. And I was actually pretty good friends with Jug Kolvich, Toby's dad.
Okay.
And he said, well, here's what happened. I don't mean to make this a long story, but
It's
it is
okay.
a long story.
It's fine.
In 1978, if you were around,
That was the year I was born.
Oh, well, then you were around.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was a tax initiative called Proposition 13. And what it was to reduce property taxes. But in order to do that, and they told you right up front, they're going to take money from fire, they're going to take money from police, they're going to take money from schools to have this happen. It passed, and
Are you telling me they defunded the police? They defunded the police to give you a job.
The library, all those kind of they defunded. And actually, if you ever seen the movie Airplane, the satire Airplane, there's a part where the guy that made that bill is in a taxi cab, and the driver leaves the taxi cab, and the meter keeps going, and the guy just left him in there. It was kind of, a shot at this guy screwing up everything. Anyway.
Right.
The job that was promised to me was taken away because, and here's the clincher, Toby Kolvich was also, his dad was going to give me and Toby a job. But that ended. So we both had to apply for the job. And it was actually ceramics. And I knew Toby was stronger at ceramics than I was. So anyway, to make another long story short, and you know what you say when somebody says that to you? To make a long story short, you say, too late. To make a long story.
Okay.
Anyway, Toby got the job. And I just went, ugh. At the time, I was married to Judy. We had no children. We had no responsibilities. So I said, just like you said, you know what? I'm going to go rent a studio downtown and paint full time. Because at that time I was painting. I did that. And during that year that I would have had that job, we bought a house. I didn't have a job, but we bought a house.
Wow.
Within a year of that, we had Shelby. And I was still kind of teaching part-time. and doing some night school stuff, teaching art. So I say this now. At the time, I was very disappointed, but in the long run, it worked out like $1,000,000 because I really kind of found myself as a painter who at that time was painting full time in a hair studio upstairs in an attic, just like I'm in now, an attic.
Yeah, an attic dwelling
So anyway, that
visionary.
worked out just fine. And then the point of the story was I still wanted to teach art. It
Yeah.
took 10 years for another opening to.
Are you fine if I leave for a few minutes?
No,
You need me to stay here?
no, you're fine. All right, I just have to.
Thank you, Judy.
Be back, Skinner.
Uh,
So, dude, okay, so what you're saying is, and this I've experienced this in the moment difficulties and think like when you have your goals get squished, kind of, you see it in the moment as a terrible thing, but then you find yourself and the resolution comes from adapting to that thing not happening. And then also maybe we wouldn't have met.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything would have been if, and what you interrupted me. Skinner.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, Judy, I thought this is.
10 years. Okay. 10 years later, after I bought the house,
Yeah.
and because it's not what you know, it's who you know, I was at a 40-year class reunion or something, maybe a 30-year class reunion. And one of my schoolmates who worked at the school said, "Hey, Larry, they're going to hire an art teacher part-time. They're not advertising it. They're just taking applications from people that have a foot in the door at Placer High School," which I did.
Yeah.
So I interviewed the job, killed it, got the job, start off part-time, which was great too. I was only teaching 2 periods a day. I went in after lunch, taught 2, and at that time periods were only an hour long. So it was bam, bam, and I was done. It was great. And then that worked into what it became, which was full-time.
Wow.
So the point of the story is, remember what W.C. Fields said when he was up in the, do you know who W.C. Fields is?
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah,
comedian,
saying
the
he
old
goes,
guys in the 30s. Yeah, there you go. He
yeah.
was up in a balloon and no, his brother was up in a balloon.
Okay.
And the balloon was failing and there was haystacks below. And so W.C. Fields said, "Go ahead and jump. You'll hit a haystack." The guy didn't jump. The balloon crashed. And the moral of the story was, don't wait too long.
Oh, that's what W.C. Fields said. And
Yeah,
that's what we're going to live.
I did wait too long, but I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I finally did get the job.
Yeah.
That's the story. Just keep going.
Just keep going. Don't wait too long, but also wait a little bit and then just keep pushing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what I meant.
All
to
right.
say.
Okay. I'm with it. I like it. So, okay. And then, you basically in a way, by getting that job, you kind of became like the creative steward for a lot of the weirder kids that have come up through Auburn too.
Well,
You babysat us all.
well, one of the best compliments I ever got, and I used to get it a lot, was they said, "The thing about you, Larry, is you treat everybody the same.
Yes.
Doesn't matter who they are, you treat everybody the same." And huge compliment. And I felt that I did do that. I welcomed you into my class. I had you for 4 years. How does a normal person even do that?
I know. Wait, did you have me for 4 years though? I felt like
did.
after a couple of years, it was like, it wasn't, it was like.
I'll tell you exactly what happened because I have a memory like a log.
Okay.
I had you 4 years and you admitted this.
Oh.
You were a strange child. You used to go out of control.
Yeah.
You remember I told you this story. I had the fret. You were a junior or a senior. I think you were a senior.
Even
though
you froze. There you go.
I had combined classes. I had freshmen with seniors, as you
Mhm.
know, and you were the senior in the class. Rachel Salazar was a student,
Yeah.
and she was in the front. You were sitting way in the back,
Mhm.
doing your thing, which, you know, that's what you did, and that was fine. Anyway, I'm taking roll, and I say Rachel Salazar, and you're in the back. Rachel Salad Bar. Rachel Salad Bar. She just freaks out. Anyway, that's the point
She
about
freaked out.
you.
Rachel Salad Bar. Wait, so she didn't like that? That's cool.
She was freaked. She didn't know what to make of you. So
Not
the
many
point
people
of the
did.
story is
Yeah.
you progressively got more out of control. That's what I'll think. More out of control. So when you were a senior in my class, I took you aside and said, Skinner, I think it'd be great if you'd switch down to Mario's class
All right.
for this period,
Yeah.
which you did.
Yeah.
And
I
it worked out
flourished.
great. Well,
Yeah.
I think you had all the art teachers. You had all the art teachers.
Yeah.
But you had me straight for 4 years. And
Yeah, I remember you did treat everybody the same. And I think I do remember, you know, I think I felt like at first when I came into your classes, I was like kind of upset, and I didn't, you know, I was kind of like trying to figure out what was going on in my life. I was very depressed and very tripped out. But I remember I did progressively get more and more out of control, because I think that like my mental health was like declining, and
I knew that I knew because you'd shared with me
yeah,
that you had a bunch of stuff going on in your life.
yeah,
And so, and like I said, you were out of control, but it was fine. It was just
yeah.
you progressively got more out of control. And what that was, it became distracting to the whole
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
It was fine. And even though you went to Mario's, you still came up to, and worked in my class. So you never really left.
Right. I think that going down to Mario's class and that it was sort of like I think that everybody kind of knew, like, hey, do some art. Here's some stuff. You know, it was almost like, I know how we could deal with this little nightmare being if we just get him to kind of like focus on drawing. And then I remember I was like doing all this insane art, and then I started to get I saw that it freaked everybody out. You know, I saw the drawings I was doing. So I was like progressively like vampires eating, you know, people and like all this crazy shit. And then during the rallies, I hated the rallies. God, they made me sick, you know? And I remember I would go down into the basement of the art spot and then do those the dungeon. Yeah, I would go down in the dungeon and do the massive, I would tape together the big pieces of paper and just make those massive nightmarish charcoal illustrations. And then I would hang them up. So in the course of, I think the rallies were like an hour, right?
Yeah.
So I would do these like 12 foot by 12 foot tall, giant charcoal illustration, smeary, smudgy, nightmarish, like crazy ass, you know, pieces. And then I'd hang them up in the art room so that when everybody would come back from the rallies, they would come in and be faced with this like giant, horrible looking, like scary ass art, you know? And I remember I would kind of wait and watch it and be like, oh yeah, look at them. Everybody hates it. Yeah, they hate it. And then I remember but what was cool was that Toby and you and everybody was like, dude, this is good. Like, this is cool. Like, keep this going. This, whatever the hell is going on, like, just keep doing that. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I felt validated. I felt seen by you guys. And then I also felt like I was getting my revenge on the kind of malaise, like the social malaise of school. I was like, I want everybody to feel crazy. and then that one, they were hanging up, and then there was like the school campus cop was like reported it. He's like, "There's horrible art in this. There's some satanic shit." Isn't that what happened? Like that weird dude.
Actually, what it was, and I remember this like it was yesterday.
Yeah,
that's exact. It was one of your giant charcoal drawings. There appeared there was no genitalia.
Right.
There was no
obvious
stuff.
Right.
It appeared that semen was squirting out of this. And the person that saw it, and I believe I think he was a watchman and a janitor. But he said he did report. He said that's got semen coming out of it. So nobody said take that. The administration didn't say take that down, but they brought it to our attention that somebody had perceived that as being sexual. So we did take it down.
Oh yeah. But I had already.
But we didn't destroy it. I think you still had it. You might even taken it home. I don't know what happened to it.
No, I went and took a bunch of that stuff over to the smoke shop, that bar.
Oh yeah.
And hung it all up in there. And I just left it there because I didn't have anywhere to put it. So they put it there. So it's probably it's in the trash somewhere. I mean, there was a bunch. I made a bunch of those.
Well, as you know, the smoke shop has changed hands.
Yeah.
2 or 3 or 4 times. So now it's the Club Car, which is a restaurant. So I actually went in there when some friends of mine owned it because my brother from another mother had a painting in there of his dog in the 60s. So I said, well, I'll go see if they have it. I know how to talk to those people. And if you remember, the smoke shop had an upstairs that you couldn't go into. And I met the girl who bought it, and her father actually owned it back in the 60s. Anyway, I said, can I go up there and look, see if that painting's up there? She says, sure. So I went up there, never could find the painting.
Right.
But your stuff wasn't up there either. So if it would have been up there, I would have taken it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's fine. But like, I remember that being very exciting to me.
Oh yeah.
I was, yeah, it was
stirred
fun.
up controversy.
Yeah. And, I was walking home late one night. I was very, very drunk. And that same cop guy, he like called in. He's like, this guy's drunk. He's walking home. Like, we got to get, and then the cop stopped me. And then that's the only time I went to jail.
Really?
Yeah. I was walking home and,
Were you in high school?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. And then, but I was 18. So it was like, they couldn't do anything really. Nobody could do anything. But,
there you go. Perfect.
but I remember, I liked it when, I do think about that time that everybody should know about when I was too, I was kind of like sometimes making art, I didn't really want to do it all the time. And so you'd say, hey, there's projects. You actually have to, this is a class and you have to do a project. And then I remember doing just drawing something and you're like, you know what, Skinner, I'm sick of your shit. You waste paper. You're a paper waster. Get out, go, and then it was like really funny. I always think about how funny that is that I got kicked out of class for way
I'm glad you brought this.
Oh yeah.
Freshman, and you were in an Art 1 class, which was an assignment class. You had to do the assignments because that's what Art 1 was. And then after Art 1 for the next 3 years, you could do what you didn't have to do assignments. You worked on your own. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal, Mr. Skinner. Yeah. Before you try to humiliate me in front of
No, it's my fault.
The deal was you would do the assignments kind of in your own way. And I never balked because who wants somebody to do everything the way you want them to do it? But it was an assignment class. Yeah. And when we did the still lifes in ink, you did all these bizarre, we were supposed to be doing cylinders and boxes and spheres. You did monsters. And so I said, well, that's a still life. I accept that. But then we went on to watercolor, and the assignment was to do a landscape. And the deal was you were supposed to do a rough drawing and then a rough watercolor. And then I would give you a very expensive, and not just everybody got a very expensive piece of paper. For high school, it was expensive watercolor paper. You
Waste.
went and got the expensive paper, went to your desk. Don't move.
Uh-oh. Oh
You
God.
did this.
Oh, you have it still? Oh, are
Which
you?
was not anywhere near the assignment.
Wait, that's what I did? Oh my
You would
God.
look a very expensive piece. This is it right here.
Dude, that's cool. Look at that thing.
Oh, well, I still have it. That's why I kept it.
Well,
But
you know what's so funny is that it seriously looks like only a totally unhappy, aggravated person would make that.
as you
What-
just said, your work back then was, like that. Your work now is so far from what, even though you did muscle guy, you did a lot of muscle guys. As a matter of fact, you and I did, which I still have. You did half of it and I did half of it, and it was a muscle guy.
Oh,
Anyway.
wow. Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I didn't really kick you out of class. I just
No.
dismissed you for the day because you were back the next
Oh, yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But here is that piece right here. Again,
Wow. What's that gray thing in
this
there?
is my bonus retirement right here.
There you go. What? But you can't really prove I did that.
Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Is it a rock? You
Take
froze.
some sort. But it wasn't a traditional landscape. But I didn't expect you to do a traditional landscape. But the whole deal was you went and took an expensive piece of paper and just whipped that out in like 2 seconds.
Right. Well, it is the landscape. It is a landscape.
It is.
I did do
a land.
I did do the project. It looks like hell.
Yes, you did do the project.
No, yeah, I think that, at the time, I didn't have the patience to do anything different. I was so aggravated that I just wanted to do, I just wanted to make a buff Satan.
I knew the first day I had you in class, not the first day, but when I first had you, I knew you were going to be some sort of artist because you were so gifted and talented even at that time. And you definitely were not disciplined, but you had the talent to back yourself up. So that's why, I just kind of let you go.
Yeah.
And it's, when sometimes when people ask about Skinner or you, I say, yeah, he's my most successful student I ever had, but I had absolutely nothing to do with it. And I didn't have anything to do with it because you had that talent from day one.
Well, I would say this though. The literal having something to do with it isn't, I don't think it's something like you taught me how to draw, or you're like, hey, this is a technique or whatever. And I don't think that Toby or Mario or Kim or any of you guys did what you did do, which is responsible for where I'm at now. And I think is that you provided a space for something different to be for me, and for me to be expressive or creative or unsatisfied and curious or angry or all these things. And that the idea was that space, I think, was integral for me to have somewhere kind of safe to exist in a way, because even when you're upset with me, or even when Toby's upset with me, which he never really did get upset with me, but I did make that crazy demon bong in his class, and then but I hid it from him until later. So but everything's cool. We're cool. But everybody was like, I think the idea was this kid is not like trying to get drugged out or like trying to do crimes or anything. He's creative. He's struggling with this place. He's struggling in his body, and he just needs to kind of be able to do this stuff. And like, I think that's a little more important in the long run, because think all the kids that were like really disciplined, they might be creative or something still, but it's not their everyday life identity,
right?
You know,
Exactly.
and for me, I needed it. So go ahead.
You get me so sidetracked.
I'm sorry, sir.
What differentiated, I love that, differentiated our school, Glasser High School art department from other art departments was that, yes, we did have a beginning class that everybody had to take before they could move on. But once they moved on, you know, I had a saying when I was interviewed about the class. I said, I don't do anything. I turn up the radio and I let them go. And basically that's what all four of us did. There wasn't structure in that. Once you did the beginning torture bit of it, then you were on your own. And if we had kids that struggled, then we gave them help and gave them direction so they could, because as you know, high school kids, some kids you have to tell them, oh, you need to do this, or they'll just sit there and listen to the music. Which was fine with me. I didn't.
Yeah, totally.
When Toby and I and Mario, when he was still there, we would be asked to go judge high school art shows. And what was always so striking to us, all the work was basically the same thing. It was an assignment, you know, even if they were advanced classes, it was an assignment that everybody did that assignment. And, you know, it obviously wasn't exactly the same, but it was basically the same picture with different colors or, you know, different shapes. I think we tried to foster and promote individuality. And what you just said is, you know, kids have told me that, you know, we just felt free to do what we could do. And of course, you know, when I first started teaching, I'd have about 150 kids a day. Because we had 5 periods in and I'd get 30 kids. So you'd figure over 20 some years, I had a lot of kids. Not all of them became artists. You know, there's just a chosen few that actually pursued an art career, but those ones that did have had very.
Damn, he froze.
Glasser High School.
You said
And
very.
I think it was because of the. What?
I'm sorry, you froze for a second, but you said the people that did go on to become artists went on to go actually do.
You know, it wasn't. It was, you know, I was trying to point out that, you know, I literally had thousands of kids over that time period. And, you know, not more than a handful, but there was not a big majority of kids that went on to go on to do art for their career. But the ones that did became very successful. And again, I never take credit for those kids because they were like you in that they had direction for art when they were young. And in your case, and I do mean you are my most successful artist, student. You know, I don't know what you make financially. I don't equate success with money. I equate it with people that do a quality work and, you know, show. And, you know, you've done everything under the sun in the art. You know, I'm always just amazed at all the things you do. It's unbelievable to me.
Thanks, buddy.
But anyway,
That's really
I
sweet.
had nothing to do with that. It was always
It was always my own incorrigible, dissatisfied relationship with my small town, I guess. Oh, you froze again. Jesus. The internet is terrible over there. We got to get you. I'm going to pay for your internet to get upgraded. Oh, he's completely frozen. Oh, wait, are you back? You are sort of still frozen. I'm going to wait. Let me know when you're back, Larry. So Larry also had this thing called the rock and roll trivia, which was every single day he would have a trivia question. And it would, because he would listen to classic rock. Okay, he left. Maybe he'll, oh, there we go. Is he coming back? Are you back?
I'm
Okay, you're back. Okay. Okay, there you go. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'm telling them about rock and roll trivia right now. Can you hear me? Okay, so with rock and roll trivia, and then at the end of the year, whoever answered the most amount of rock and roll trivia questions got a trophy. And so he would ask people he would ask people in the classes, like, who is going to help me make this rock and roll trivia trophy? And I said, I'll do it. And so I went and sculpted this like demon coming out of the ground with drumsticks. And then I put pieces of glass on it. So in the kiln, when it, cooked in the kiln, that the glass would melt and it would just be like this like demon out of hell with melted blood glass coming off of them and stuff like that. And then some like nerd won, right? And then you're like, here's your trophy. Yes. And you're like, what the hell? I don't want this.
But that's not the end of the story.
Okay.
Adam Coons won it.
Oh.
His father and his grandfather were big time people in the Newcastle Methodist Church in Newcastle.
Oh.
I was invited to Adam Coons's graduation, and the trophy was put on the food table right in the middle. And
oh my God.
Grandfather, who was one of the top dogs in the church, he stands next to me and we're looking at the trophy and he goes, that's a little demonic, isn't it? I said, well, not really. I think it's just a drummer and he's got some blood issues.
Yeah. Dude, that's the best, man.
But there's more to the story.
Okay.
Adam actually went off to some foreign country and became a doctor. I don't know if he's a medical doctor. I know he's a doctor of some sort. Anyway, there's, in Auburn, there's the Twin Dragon Chinese restaurant. And there's one that you may not know about, which is more recent, called the Happy Walk. The Happy Walk's been there for a good number of years, but it's changed hands. I have not seen Adam Coons in, I can't tell you, a very long time. Anyway.
Oh no, froze again. Damn it. Come back.
Family bought Twin Dragon, or not Twin, the Happy Walk.
Okay.
So, and she's Asian. So Judy and I went over there and we're having dinner and she's waiting on us. And I said, do you own this? And she says, yeah, this is mine. I said, do you know Adam Coons? She was friendly the whole time. But I said, do you know Adam Coons? She lights up like a Christmas tree. Oh. Yeah, do you know Adam? I said, yeah, Adam Coons is one of my students. And as a matter of fact, he won the rock and roll trivia trophy. I know, it's still at our house and he talks about you all the time.
Oh my God.
And I said, I can't remember how I said it, but I said, and the guy that made it is actually pretty successful. Oh God, I think she said Skinner. I can't remember.
She's a Scooter.
It was you. Yeah.
Isn't it? You know what's so funny is when you're, like a young, it's like, I've experienced this where it's like, I think that I was kind of always seen as sort of just like a little smudge, little black cloud of like weirdness, around. And it's so funny because it's like, if you become a successful black cloud smudge person, like, everybody's like, oh, cool. Like I think it's awesome, but like, it's always kind of like ironic what happens where the thing that people are kind of like, oh, Jesus, this guy's like a little bit on the outskirts of things. He's a little fringe, and now it's kind of like, that was the actual thing, that kind of outsiderness, and my struggle with myself and my struggle in my relationship with being an outsider and not feeling like belonging kind of was the thing that kept me going into doing this stuff for some reason. I don't know. And it kind of keeps me, and I still find groups to antagonize, but it's not the same ones. It's like different. It's like different. It's not like society at large. Now it's like people I encounter in industries and institutions that are trying to exploit me, that I want to challenge and fuck over, So it's different. Now I have a lot of love and kindness. I'm healed up. The Prozac is kicked in, Larry.
Well,
now,
everybody knew who you were. Everybody liked you. Everybody thought you were something special. You were special. And
thanks.
I know in high school.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You put up a pretty good facade. I think people thought you were a really happy-go-lucky swinging guy.
Oh, really?
You've always been so. When you were in high school, you're always so kind to people. You were never mean. You're always kind. You used to do stuff for my son. Remember, my son is probably 10 years younger than you, and you used to give him art projects and always talk to him. And you were always a very kind soul. I don't think you ever really did anybody way. Ever made salad bar.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit. When I said the salad bar thing too, that was a little bit. I probably could have.
But I'll tell one more story.
Okay.
1,000 Skinner stories.
Well, when your internet
situation,
internet gets better, we're gonna do a sequel to this.
Okay. All
but
right.
I want to hear the story now. Let's keep it going. I'm ready.
Same situation. It's a freshman class. You're.
Uh-oh. Don't freeze on me, baby. I'm about to hear a cool story.
My niece, Erin Maxwell. Friends. Do you see how everything comes around like this?
Erin Maxwell.
She was a freshman in the class. They were doing their work. You came in with one of your, here's Skinner. You picked up a hammer and attacked me. You didn't hit me. You just attacked me with the hammer and was screaming.
Yeah.
You left. Erin didn't say a word.
Uh-huh.
That night, she calls me and says, and she didn't even know who you were. She says, was that guy trying to kill you, Uncle Larry? I said, no, Erin, that's just his way.
Dude, that's funny. Remember that big, tall, giant guy who I would act up all crazy in the class?
Yes.
And he'd come over and choke me, and then he would like squeeze my neck. He'd like, say sorry to Larry. And then I remember because like my head was getting all red like a stewed tomato, and I was like, no. I was like, I'm sorry, Larry. I could feel consciousness slipping away. So I was like, I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry about that. But what was so interesting is when I look back on a lot of the kids that had a ton of talent, there was this one who was this really good looking guy and he had long hair, and he would always do these beautiful colored penciled illustrations of Jesus.
Yeah. He
But
was in Mario's class,
Yeah,
right?
he was so arrogant. And I thought it was so funny that this like really arrogant, like asshole guy was just doing portraits of Jesus. But now that I'm older, I realize, oh, that's very fitting. It's very, it's very
that was him. And
on
I don't
brand.
know what happened to him. I don't know if he pursued an art career or not. He was in Mario's class. I didn't actually have him, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Well, I remember he was in, sometimes he would come up, and I think in your class, but because I remember the goth girls that I'd hang out with were like, hated him so much. They're like, he's such a fucking asshole. And I was like, well, the worst part is he's good looking. That's the part you're struggling with, I think,
There you go.
But yeah, dude, it was fun. And the best part was, because I remember like I started to have more fun socially as time went on when I was like a junior and senior. So I'd get, I remember I started dating Faye. Remember Faye? And she was like a cheerleader. And then I remember all the teachers were like upset that Faye was dating this like horrible mutant, And I remember one time, one of the teachers who was like concerned about it, and I could just see it playing out in my head. Like, they're like, oh, Faye's future is bright. This guy this is not good. Like, get him away. This is tainting the situation. But I remember I got called into the office one time, and I saw the woman who was like Faye's coach or something. And I saw her in the office, and I was like, dude, I think she told the principal that I was stoned or something to like get me, and I was stoned all the time. So I went in there, and he's all, and he looked up my information. He saw it was like straight A's, and he was all confused. I saw it, and I could see the drama going on where it was like, I kind of got, there was a concern about me. And then, which there was so many of those, but, and he's like, oh, you have straight A's. And he was all in shock. And I was like, yeah, it's easy. This shit is easy, man. Like, whatever. This is not like, it's nothing, And I remember how like befuddled that made people feel, that, that I would have like really good grades. And I'm like, I kind of did it to sort of be able to justify that I was like so upset and crazy about stuff, that I was like, well, I can't get in trouble, man. Look at all my good grades, like I'm killing it, and then playing rugby. And but I found that the key was, when I would hang out with people, that to charm their parents. And then the parents
were charming. You were very charming.
Yeah. And then the parents would tell the other parents like, oh, he's okay. And then I'd be like, now I can live my life. Cause now it's very, it's just like a small town, but I don't know. Go ahead.
To go along with that, you remember Joey Sorovi?
Oh, I love.
Remember his mom got brain cancer.
Yes.
And I'd go down and see her on occasion, and she would always just talk about when you'd come to visit, how you would cheer her up.
Really?
When you come down to see Joey, and you'd go talk to her. And I think that's when, it was near the end. She was, I think, in a hospital bed at home.
Yes.
And she always just reveled when you would come over.
Yeah.
And make her feel good. Yeah.
Well, I remember probably the coolest thing that's ever happened to me that made me feel good was, I think within the last couple days of her life, that I went over, and she was just still, in her bed, and they said, "Hey, Skinner's here." And her, like, she like barely smiled. It was like, it kind of came through, and I was like, oh my God, I was just like, could barely hold it together, because I couldn't believe that someone could hold that kind of goodness in their heart about me.
Mhm.
And it was really beautiful, actually. And I think that, like, that's kind of the thing about some of my antagonism growing up, is that I think it was like testing people to see if they could hold goodness in their heart about me.
Right.
And I don't know, it's kind of hard. I've been doing a lot of therapy around it, actually. It's weird. I didn't think I'd get emotional thinking about Joey's mom, but
Yeah, she was a great lady, and you brought joy to her.
yeah, that was cool. She's cool. I remember when Joey came to school one time, and he had a photo of, because she won PE teacher of the year. Did you know that?
Right.
There was a photo of her and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah, together. And I remember just being like, what a cool person, man. She's so cool. Like, oh,
She was a good lady.
yeah, I loved her. Yeah. I think that's the thing, is I love going back to Auburn to check on people. I love going to see how everyone's doing. And I don't know. I think that, like, as I've gotten older and I've gotten more and more like in touch with myself and found more peace, that I think I just have found an innate ability from that healing to just kind of love others so much. And so I love coming to Auburn and, like, kind of like looking around for people or seeing old people being like, hi, how's it going? Remember me? I remember I was swimming at my mom's like a couple years ago, and my second grade teacher is still alive and there,
Oh, wow.
Miss Ganella. And I remember just immediately like, do you remember when you'd sing this song and we would do this and you'd do this and do that? Do you remember me? Like all that, and very interesting, because I felt like the young version of myself had taken over immediately. I was just there again. And sometimes that's what happens when I go to Auburn, is it's either like an extraordinarily positive thing, or I go there and I'm kind of haunted by shit, So.
People love to see you. I've been in situations where you've been there, and people just swarm to you. They all remember you. They all love you.
That's so sweet. This conversation is making me feel good. I'm loving it. It's making me feel all right. That's nice.
Hey, all right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make it all about myself the whole time, like a scumbag, like a narcissist.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I watched those 2 interviews that you sent me.
Yeah.
You did most of the talking.
Yeah, that's not a good skill, is it?
But you're interesting. People find you interesting.
Well, I feel like what happens is I haven't developed the interview skill as good yet. I'm still trying to figure it out.
What you do, and from what I've seen, you're so natural with it, and you just, it's not like you think about what you're doing. You just kind of go with the flow, and that's really good.
Yeah, I don't want to contrive it too much.
No, just you make people, and I think what you do is make people feel very comfortable also.
I hope so. Maybe that's a testament to the fact that I'm feeling more comfortable with myself more and more.
Perfect.
Yeah. But well, let's this has actually been amazing. I feel like it's almost an hour. It's been about an hour, and we didn't even get to talk about like your paintings and stuff, like what you've been painting.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, wait, how about this? do you have a website?
No,
Okay. All right. But do you have photos of your artwork?
I do. The majority of my artwork is on slides, which are irrelevant anymore.
Yeah.
I do have pictures of my artwork on it's on Judy's phone, but there is
Okay.
when I quit doing 35 millimeter, I started using Judy's phone to photograph my stuff.
Okay. Do you
Of
think
course, you can look in any art history book and see my artwork.
Yeah. Yes. I think you were the CIA paid
Yeah.
you to shift the attention of the art world from
That's right.
France to America.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I want to get some of the photos of those because I want to show people what you do. I think that when I first saw your paint, hello? Well, you're frozen. Wait, you're frozen. Hold on one second. Oh, wait, there we go. Now keep it still. It's water. Larry paints water. And they're so beautiful. They're such beautiful paintings. And I think that when I first saw them up close, that I didn't realize how meditative of a person that you actually are with your practice. I guess that's not really a question.
No. But it's something like I evolved into, you'll remember because my career like the back of your hand.
Yeah, yes.
My first major paintings were swimming pool paintings, pool water, pools, and I always liked those, but then that whole time, that entire time, I was taking photos of the American River because I loved the American River, so I was always taking photos. So when I got tired of the pool paintings, I thought, I should be painting the American River, and so I went back to all my old slides and started painting American River, and then Aaron Maxwell's husband, who was a big photographer, knew that I liked those, so he took just tons of photos for me, which I used also of the American River because I think the American Rivers. There's just you were lived up here. You went to the American River. There's just something about the river, nature, river, flow, relationship between colors, and so that's it. I paint the American.
Well, the American River is like wildly beautiful, and it kind of is an interesting connection to the past because it's Auburn is so steeped in that gold rush kind of that it's like an interesting connection to that whole thing, and it's where people go to congregate. It's where life is existing. And I would go jump in the American River from the rocks. And I remember sometimes I would go, if I was not getting along well with my mom, I would just go sleep at the river. And then I would get up in the morning and get in my car and just drive to school, high school. Now I'm going to tell you, it's not good sleeping down there, Larry, but it's beautiful to paint. But I mean, we're lucky to have that the confluence. God damn, I miss it, man. I got to get back there. Let's go together. I'm going to come up. Let's go down there. Let's have some Mai Tais.
Let's have some Mai Tais and go to the river.
Do you still, well, can I come up and visit you? Can we just go? I mean, I know the pandemic's sort of kind of over, but it'd be cool to go, I don't know, hang out or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to get you better internet, but then we're going to continue this. This is going to be an ongoing series, I think.
All right. And I will, I don't know how to do it, but Judy will know how to do it. I'll have her send you some of my photos of my paintings.
Okay. So because the reason is I want to post those with this this interview so that people could see the beautiful paintings of water that you've been doing.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Okay, this is it. This is the end. Is there anything else you want to say?
You're the best. You're the best.
You're the best.
And I know they'll still tell your viewers that when you were still in high school, I said, when you become famous, I want you to mention my name on Letterman.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
in
frozen.
your books, you mentioned me here. You've come to a couple of my shows.
Mhm.
Jeez, you're the man.
I love you, buddy. You're the best. I loved coming to
love
your
you.
show. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Well,
my
like
man.
I said, people flock to you.
Well, that is nice, but you know, I come to Auburn, people flock to me, and I try to fleece them for money somehow. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. But listen, I love you very much. I hope you have a good day. Please tell Judy thank you for helping us navigate this. I love her, and I'm gonna come up and visit you guys soon.
Perfect.
All
All
right,
right,
buddy.
it's been great doing business with you.
Yeah, thanks, Larry.